So I'm starting to put together a set of carving gouges, and I previously bought myself a new set of fairly small ones, but I want to start doing some more carving, and so I want some more sort of general size, normal, big boy, if you will, carving tools. And I've been putting these together largely on the guidance of Mary May's recommended starting set, and then I'm just going to sort of add specialty ones as I need to go. But I'm buying them all on eBay. And so I'm sort of being selective initially, but I found a lot of 45 chisels. And it ended up being really, really inexpensive. I knew there were some carving chisels in there. I bought them. It turned out that there were 3 carving gouges in there that I think I'm going to be able to restore and make useful. So those go into my set. There's a bunch of really crappy ones that are probably going to go in the trash, which is fine. There are some pretty decent turning tools in there that I'm probably going to give to my son along with my current lathe once I get my newer, bigger one. And sort of a pleasant surprise, there was a set of these bench chisels in here. So my plan is to restore these bench chisels. It's going to be a pretty decent starter set for my son. Before I went and put a ton of work into this, I just want to make sure that these weren't complete garbage. The handles are all decent, you know, they're hooped. So I took and preliminarily sharpened one just to make sure I could get and maintain a decent edge. And it sharpened pretty well. I came up to a pretty nice shine. May or may not be able to see here, you know, this is shaving very, very nicely here. So I wanted to just make sure that they weren't complete garbage before I invested a bunch of time and effort into them. Now that it confirmed, I think they're good enough. I'm effectively considering them free, so the 3 carving gouges I got, I think just those alone were a pretty decent value for what I paid for this whole set, and then the rest of this is all bonus. So that's probably a longer lead in than necessary, but with that I'm going to just go set about starting to restore these and bring them back to being good users for the shop for my son. Okay, so that was a little bit tedious and my hands cramping a little bit, but really not that bad. I probably put in less than a half an hour of effort there. Through that, what I discovered is, you know, these came up pretty nice. It definitely feels like really decent steel, and as part of that process I was cleaning them, it turns out there's some labeling on here. It looks like Bracht, B-R-A-C-H-T, is the maker. They're all labeled in millimeters of width. And they also have a little label here, WO-VA. I'm assuming that means this is tungsten vanadium steel. So these could well be much higher quality chisels than I had really anticipated. I took that up to 400 grit. Really all of the surface rust is basically gone. There's no significant pitting. So the next step is going to be to go on, just call that done for now, and start working on establishing edges on here. So they're all relatively flat except for this big guy, this 30 millimeter. It's got all kinds of nasty notches in the edge. So I'm going to take that to the wheel. I'm going to grind that flat, put a little bit of a hollow into it. So then the next major task after we do that is to get these guys sharp. Now that I've realized these are a little bit better than I maybe thought they were, I'll probably end up building a box to store them and take care of them, help keep their edges sharp. So that may be part of this project, maybe next project that I'll tie together with this, but I'm pretty darn pleased. For effectively free chisels, I think we're going to end up with something pretty nice. So now that I have these guys cleaned up, I'm feeling really good about the quality of the steel. Next step is to sharpen them. So I've sort of gotten everything together here I need. I have a nice piece of granite cutoff from a granite kitchen supply place. So this is a great substrate for sharpening with sandpaper. So I've already gotten these up to about 400 grit just by hand. So that didn't create a nice flat surface. So I'm going to use this for flatness. Just remember that a sharp edge is just the intersection of a dead flat plane of the back of the chisel with a flat plane where the bevel meets it. These may have a little bit of a hollow in them. I lied when I said this one needed to be cleaned up and reground and the other ones didn't. They were all sort of banged up. So I squared them all up, gave them a new preliminary bevel. So next step, I'm going to sharpen the sandpaper. I'm going to start at 400 grit. This is wet dry sandpaper. Just using a little bit of water to wet that. It's fine, it sticks quite a bit better. I've got a non-slip mat underneath here. Give a little bit of water on there. After this, I'm going to move to sharpening stones. So I've got a diamond stone and I have a ceramic stone. I'm going to do those next, and then finally I'm going to end up just stropping it on my homemade leather strop. So I've got all these tools. I got my headphones, so I got tunes. I'm going to be at this for a little bit since I got 5 chisels to do, but just knuckle down and get this done.